Hey there folks, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Spider-Man Homecoming Peter and Ned 2-pack. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright guys, so right off the bat I do want to mention that Ned does not come with the Cloak of Levitation. This is based off of Homecoming, not No Way Home. I just threw that in there because I thought it was funny, and that's how I've had him displayed for the last couple of days, is with the Cloak of Levitation. So I just want to get that out of the way. And also another thing is, actually, I'll save that for later. But yeah, guys, I was pretty excited when this came out, but my excitement for it kind of dwindled down because I didn't really think I was going to get it until I started seeing some of the reviews on it and just seeing how cool these two look together and how unique Ned is, and also some of the inaccuracies in terms of the colors of these characters made me want to get it just so I could spruce it up myself. There's some things inaccurate about Peter's clothing. Just to give you an idea, his outfit. His outfit is much more accurate in the render here in terms of the colors of the green and the colors of his pants. And Ned, his pants are the wrong color and his shoes are the wrong color. His shoes should be brown. So I'm definitely gonna go ahead and paint these guys at some point. But as they are, this is a really cool set. I really enjoy it. The Peter figure is really cool. It gives you a lot of head swap options when it comes to some of your Spider-Man figures. And Ned's a really nice figure to have just in terms of the uniqueness of him being around. And I just really like his character, and I really like the actor that plays him. Funny in the movies, funny in real life. And, you know, it doesn't hurt to have a Tom Holland Peter Parker because it gives you some options for your other figures and also to make other versions of Peter Parker if you really wanted to. So we're going to take a look at Ned first to get him out of the way, although he is probably the standout in this for me, just because he's so unique to have. But we're going to take a look at Ned first. Move Peter's accessories out of the way, which includes this. I'm really happy with this Ned figure. I think if they were going to do anything extra in terms of accessories, I would have liked to have seen a smiling head sculpt for Ned, just because I think that suits him really, really well. But I really like this. He's got the little watch right here, which is really cool. Brand new sculpt through and through as far as I can tell. I don't see anything that they would have been able to reuse. And he's got a gigantic backpack compared to Peter's, which we'll take a look at. But one of the really cool things that he comes with is this this Spider-Man mask, which you can pop right on Ned here, of course, to recreate the scene in Homecoming where he's wearing Peter's mask, where they're trying to locate, or they're waiting for the little glowy thing to reach its destination. So that's pretty cool. Speaking of the little glowy thing, that would have been cool to come in this set. I think somebody else said that in one of their videos, but I'm not entirely sure who said that. I don't remember. But I really like this Ned head sculpt. Definitely looks like the actor. The hair sculpt is really, really nice. And as far as the printing goes for the face and the sculpt work, through and through, stand out. Really like it. The sculpt work for the rest of the body, that looks pretty good as well. There's not really too much to complain about here, honestly. I think, like I said, there is some inaccuracies in terms of his color of his pants and the color of his shoes, and also the kind of acid wash that he's got going on here is a little bit weird. They could have done that a little bit better. I've seen them do it better with like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, so I think they could have done that a little bit better. And also, I think the shirt, at least the shirt, could have benefited extremely from having a wash. And the reason for that is obviously it just brings out detail, but also it would have separated the undershirt from this button up here. Obviously, you would have had some paint fill out this kind of line right here where the separation is, and that would have offered some depth and really bring out the depth, and it would have made the two shirts look a little bit more separate, and it would have made him look a little bit more like a real person instead of a figure that's wearing this kind of plasticky, rubbery overlay. So that would have been nice to see, and of course it would have just made the figure look a little bit better. But I really like this watch accessory that he's got going on here. That's really cool. And I don't know. I'm thinking I might steal his shoes and give them to Peter, just because they look more like sneakers. The shoes that Ned's wearing when he's wearing this outfit look more like boots anyway, so either way it's inaccurate. Maybe like boot shoes, kind of. Not boat shoes, but boot shoes. If you guys have ever seen those. It's kind of hard to tell. I'd have to take a look at him again. But the last thing I want is for this Peter to be any taller, and you can see that those shoes offer a bit of thickness. So this Peter Parker is already taller than he should be, so I might not do that. But as far as the articulation goes, it doesn't seem like he has any movement in the neck at all. But he does have a ball joint and a hinge, so that lets you look up this far and look down this far, which is very, very nice. Get a little bit of a head tilt, and then of course a swivel. Get some arm rotation, and the shoulders go past horizontal, so that's nice. Get them going up a little bit more. And then again, like I said, you get the rotation, get a elbow swivel, and a single jointed elbow that doesn't quite meet 90 degrees, but it works out for Ned. And you get a rotation and a hinge. And there also seems to be a diaphragm joint, which you're not going to get too much movement out of, but it does give you some play, so that's nice. And then you get a rotation, and you get a little bit of dipping if you want. The legs move out this far. You kick forward just a little bit, and you can move back slightly. It kicks out a little bit as well. And some thigh swivel, some double jointed knees, and the ankles rotate. And then can move down just a little bit, move up, not really at all, and then some ankle pivot. Take a look at his backpack real quick, and then we'll take a look at the Peter figure. So his backpack has some nice detail in it as well. It's got some nice textures, and the camel paint looks alright. They didn't really paint the tabs on the zippers though, and these black straps are separate pieces that I'm assuming kind of cross each other and hide underneath this separate backing here. And this one's all flat. It doesn't really have any texture to speak of. It has texture, but not an intentional texture. It's kind of just rough. The Peter backpack does have some nice texture in there, so that's a bit unfortunate that they left Ned hanging like that. This little tab here is painted though. But overall it looks pretty nice, and it looks good on the figure, so that is cool. Moving on to the Peter figure. Square us back up. Moving on to the Peter figure. I really like this a lot. Like I said before, he just offers a lot of options. You know, you can do some head swaps, and you can turn this figure into another version of Spider-Man, a comic version of Spider-Man, or another movie version of Spider-Man, or Peter Parker, I should say. It gives you options to use these as kind of civilians. This is a really nice set to pick up. But let's take a look at the backpack. Definitely some nice sculpting work here. Again, this could have benefited from having a wash, but as it is, it looks pretty good. You can see they painted the tabs on the zipper here. And this one has the texture as well. And that's what I was saying about the inside of the backpack having some nice texture and some sculpt work. And again, the straps are molded in this color, and then this little tab right here is painted. So that looks pretty cool, and it definitely fits the figure very nicely. And then here's the Peter Parker. And this head sculpt is a little bit off. However, I think I know what picture they were basing this off of, and I'll put that up later. And I've seen some really, really talented people repaint this, and it still doesn't look quite right. As the paint is, it looks pretty good, but I think the issue is definitely down to the sculpt. They didn't quite nail it. This one, on the other hand, looks really, really good. They definitely nailed this. And I do have a figure that I think this head looks pretty good on, so I'll show that later on. You can see some of the texture throughout the shirt here. There's a bit of a difference in the finishes here. The chest and the arms match up nicely with this kind of gloss, and then the shoulders and this rubbery piece right here have more of a satin finish. So those don't quite match up, but there's some nice sculpt work here. Looks pretty good. You get the pinless elbows and the pinless knees, so that looks cool. However, I would have really liked to have seen some wider shoulders here, just to kind of match the actual Spider-Man figures a little bit better. I appreciate his legs not being just tiny little tubes like the retro-carded Peter Parker figure. I mean, that figure comes in the same wave as this Spider-Man apart from the head. And this Spider-Man has some beefy thighs compared to that Stan Lee-bodied Peter Parker. So, this one looks a little bit more like the Spider-Man figure. You know, I can see these thighs fitting inside these pants. And that's just something that I think about. I know not everybody cares about that, but this figure is not a good comparison because this figure has ass shoulders anyway. But compared to the majority of the Spider-Man figures, they have shoulders that look like this. So it would have been nice to see that brought back here, but we didn't see that, unfortunately. He does have some really nice texture, or some really nice printing on the collar, and a little piece of a shirt hanging down here. It's not quite an accurate pattern, but it looks really good in and of itself, so that's nice to see. And again, the paintwork on the face looks pretty good as well. It's just, unfortunately, the sculpt that lets it down. And this bothers me a lot. Why no Nike shoes? These should be Nike shoes. Nike kind of like track shoes. Instead, they gave them Shang-Chi's shoes. I mean, they went 100% brand new with the rest of the figures, or with the entirety of the set. Why not just give him some new shoes? He also comes with some fist hands and his little book. So that's cool. I'm assuming these hands are all brand new because I don't see what other figures they could have come with. And as far as the relaxed hand goes, that looks pretty cool. I like that. And in terms of his articulation, he has a ball at the base of the neck as well as a double ball joint at the top of the head. And I do want to mention real quick that this gash is my fault. I was messing around with some head swaps and I was putting this double ball peg back in and my pliers slipped and gashed the chest. I'm not too worried about it because I'm going to be repainting this figure, but I should mention it. But he gets some pretty nice range in the neck. He goes down pretty far. Some really nice leaning back and forth, and some rotation at the head and the neck. His arms can go about horizontally in a full rotation. Double bicep swivel. It would have been nice to see these shoulders seated in the bicep a little bit better. It's kind of like just barely holding on, so I don't really care for that. But he does have some nice double jointed elbows. They're a little bit weird looking, but it works. Wrist rotation, they hinge forward and back. Same with the other set of hands. He's got a diaphragm joint that goes back kind of okay, and he doesn't really crunch forward, so that definitely could have been better. He's got a rotation here, and then he can do some just barely any dipping to the side. Legs move out that far, and he can kick forward a little bit better than horizontally, so that's nice. About horizontally if you go straight out, and he can go back just a tad. Thigh swivel, double jointed knees, so that's okay. They look a bit weird, but it is what it is. They're jeans. Foot rotation, ankles move down that far, up just a little bit, and then he got some ankle pivot. So the articulation on this guy is pretty cool. I might try to adjust the torso articulation to get him to crank forward a bit more. I think that would be worth it to get him in some more Spider-Man poses for maybe some nice photography. But taking a look at some of the, this is all crooked. Taking a look at some head swaps. Here he is with the previous Tom Holland head sculpt from the Walmart exclusive No Way Home figure. That looks pretty cool. I like that. Maybe a bit high, but I think it's about the same as this one. Yeah, I think it's about the same. And here's the Renew Your Vows Peter Parker head. This head's definitely a bit big, but I think you could pull it off in some, maybe not. And then the ultimate Peter Parker head will not work. It doesn't fit, and it probably is too small. One head that would fit on here, if you have it, you would have to pull out the double ball peg though, but one head that would fit is the Mafex black suit Spider-Man head. I put that on here, and I actually do like that a lot. And once the colors get muted a little bit, it would work for that figure a little bit better because that figure has the scruff on his face, so that might be an option for some pictures later down the road. But setting this guy back and taking a look at some size comparisons. Here he is compared to two of my custom Spider-Mans. This is the unused Civil War suit Spider-Man, and here he is compared to the homemade suit Spider-Man. I do want to do this real quick. I already know that it sits a bit high, but just to give you guys an idea of what it looks like. That would be really cool for some pictures, but it does sit too high. Giving him his head back. Here he is compared to the, this is a work in progress, but the Far From Home upgraded suit, as well as the No Way Home upgraded suit with his alternate head on there. Just get an idea what some head comparisons look like. Here he is compared to the black and gold Spider-Man figure, which is the exact same as the Far From Home one. And then here's the integrated suit with the Walmart exclusive head on it. And then one more size comparison is the Stark Tech suit. So you can see he's a little bit tall. He's definitely taller than he should be. This figure, however, I did some height adjustments. I shortened his thighs, and I also made it so his head sits a little bit lower. But in all honesty, this would have been the figure that he was closest in scale with, just right out of the box. So yeah, take a look at some more comparisons right now. Head swaps, I should say. Here's the Homecoming head. Oh, doesn't fit. Sits a little bit low. But the Homecoming head on the Homecoming Stark Tech suit doesn't really work out there. And then one that I really like is on the Far From Home figure, which is pretty much the same as this one, but I like that a lot. Alright guys, so that's about it. Give you an idea, one more comparison, bring Ned in here. Since most of the Spider-Man figures are roughly the same size, I'm going to show you what he looks like compared to your integrated suit Spider-Man with the Walmart exclusive Peter Parker head on there. Technically, it's the same sculpt as the previous one with the Iron Spider, but that's besides the point. They're roughly the same height all of a sudden, you know, before the actual Peter Parker figure is taller. So it really depends on what you think works best for your setup. For me, it doesn't really matter. I think they look good the same height, and it'd look good if Peter's a little bit taller. But that's pretty much it, guys. That's the video. It's a bit long, but there's some things that I wanted to show off and see what they look like. But yeah, guys, I really enjoy this set. I think it's really nice. It's good for photography if you want to have some background characters. It's good for just having Ned and him being really unique. It's good for having Peter, and you can have different versions of Peter Parker, and you can do some different head swaps. It's definitely a lot of value, in my opinion, in terms of your overall collection. It works for me. I really like it, and I'm going to get a little extra pleasure just because I get to repaint these figures, and that's something that I look forward to doing. But as it is, these guys are great. If you guys agree, then I would definitely go ahead and pick these up. But yeah, I think that's about it. If you guys liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe, notification bell, all that good stuff would be greatly appreciated if you choose to do so. And of course, until next time, true believers.